This is Mindy Strong, and this section is the largest single section to be tested on the Series 65. 13 questions on the business practices section. Take your time, go over this slowly, pause this video, take screenshots. I don't mind. This is to help you, okay? So let's go. Let's delve into business practices. First of all, we have advisory contract and anti-fraud rules. By the way, a lot of this is duh. A lot of this is, we're back to the obvious stuff. The last section we looked at when we were looking at registration and licensing, we had a lot of memorization. There will be some memorization in this section, but a lot of this is going to be duh. Okay, here we go. Advisory contracts and anti-fraud rules. It is unlawful to employ a scheme to defraud, engage in any act of fraud, effect a transaction without consent, engage in any dishonest or unethical practices. The NASSA Advisory Contract Rule 502C says that advisory contracts have to be in writing and they have a fixed life. You can accept prepaid fees. You have to detail the refund policy, and this applies to both state and federal. Provides in writing. Let's look at what needs to be provided in writing. No compensation will be made based on gain and loss, but the total is okay. Meaning you can get compensation on the change in the total amount in the account, but not based on gain and loss. Changes in partnership composition need to be provided in writing. Wealthy customers can be assessed a performance fee, and wealthy customers are people that have 1.1 million in assets under management or 2.2 million or more in net worth. And the performance fee is basically giving you a right to be more risky, or it's going to incline you to be riskier because you get this extra fee. You need to let them know what periods you're going to use to measure how the investments are performing. You need to let them know the nature of the index being used as a comparison and why you believe this index is the appropriate one to use. Fees and commissions. Wrap fees. It's just like a gift wrap. It wraps all the services in one, the cost of all the trades, an annual fee, and this can be either a flat dollar or a percentage. There's something called soft dollars, and this means if you send a portfolio trades to a brokerage and they help you out, there is no discount on commissions, but they can give back to the advisor as like a research report, asset allocation software, stock selection software. Anything that benefits the client is considered soft dollar, and that's okay. That's acceptable. You can have a fee in there. There are also 12B1 fees. These are capped at 1%, and these fees help get new investments into the fund. There is no unreasonable hedging clause, meaning you cannot unreasonably do something to keep yourself from being liable. So basically, you are liable if you make a bad choice. You can't have a clause in there that goes, listen, man, if things go south, you're excusing me from not returning the way I should. That is not okay. There is no unreasonable hedge clauses. Requirements. Okay, so the brochure has a Part 2A and a Part 2B, and we're going to look at those, and I'm going to make sure you understand what each one contains. The brochure, which is Form ADV, there's a Part 2A is the brochure. That's the information about the business. That's the big one. That's the first one. A, you need to find out about our business. B is the brochure supplement. That tells you about the advisors and the key personnel. Now, these are used by both the SEC and the states. They have to be sent no less than 48 hours before entering into an oral or written agreement, or They have 5 days to terminate once they receive the form 2A and 2B. And if it's not sent before, then there's a free look back period. Changes made to the brochure have to be sent within 120 days of the fiscal year end, and they have to send both 2A and 2B. You can make your own brochure, but obviously it has to have certain information, and these can be sent electronically. Custody rules. Okay. Accepting funds, holding funds, and ability to appropriate them, acceptance of prepaid advisory fees in excess of $500, and accounts with full power of attorney are said to have custody. All of those qualify. You cannot take custody if it's prohibited by the administrator or if you fail to tell the administrator and you notify on the Form ADV. Securities must be held by qualified custodians, and we're going to go into who those are. You have to notify if the name, the address, or the manner of funds changes. Statements must be sent at least quarterly, and the qualified custodian must conduct surprise audits to verify the funds. The investment advisor must submit the results of those audits to the administrator within 120 days. If it's returned within 3 days, meaning you accidentally send money to someone who shouldn't be the custodian, then within 3 days, if it's returned, it's not considered taking custody. Most of this, guys, is common sense, right? There are some memorization here. We have 3 days. If it's returned within 3 days, obviously that has to be memorized. But most of this is just common sense. Okay, here we go. What is a qualified custodian? Well, FDC insured deposit taking institutions, registered broker-dealers, registered futures commissions merchants, and foreign financial institutions. Those are qualified custodians, and they hold the money, okay? ADV updates. You have to file an update of Form ADV in the state within 90 days of the fiscal year end, and any material changes have to be done promptly, and promptly is defined as 30 days. This makes sense. Any material changes to those brochures, the business, the structure, you've got to tell people. You don't have this longer period of time. You need to update them. Customer account rules. To open an account, a customer must provide their name, address, date of birth, social security number. Margin account, which is also called short. This is not a cash account, which is long. The margin account requires a signature. The agent and the manager must sign the new account form. The customer must approve the trades. In discretionary accounts, they have to have written authorization, and that must occur within 10 days of verbal approval to an IA. So within 10 days, if discretionary changes are able to be made, within 10 days, the IA has to have it in writing. They can't just have it in verbal. Once they have it in verbal, they have 10 days to get it in writing. SEC for broker-dealers require the written to be prior to any discretionary orders. So this is one difference between the investment advisors. They can get a verbal and have 10 days to get the written. And the SEC says, no. You have to have the written prior to these discretionary orders going through. It's not considered discretionary unless they choose the size or the security. It's not discretionary if they only select the price and the time. So either the size or the security makes it discretionary. If they only select the price or the time, it's not discretionary. Makes sense. Broker-dealer suitability standard. Broker-dealer must inquire about the needs of their clients. They must recommend appropriate securities. They can't churn accounts. They can't perform excessively large trades. They can't failed to disclose risk, and they can't make blanket recommendations to all of their clients. Everybody should buy Tesla. Fiduciary standard. Must put clients' needs above your own. Must put clients' needs above your own. That's the fiduciary standard. Payment margin, commingling rules, regulation requirement. Okay, here we go. Long sale in a cash account. Short sale is in a margin account. We talked about that. Regulation T says 50% must be put up in cash. The other 50% can be put up by the broker-dealer, can be borrowed. They must be paid promptly once a sale is made, or their accounts are frozen for 90 days. Cash up front is what would happen in the future. They would have to have cash before they conduct business. If that happens and they don't pay right away. In both the accounts, it has to be delivered on settlement. Margin must locate the securities before. If they're going to use borrowed securities, they have to know where they're coming from. Securities kept in the street name of the broker-dealer until they are paid in the margin account. The investment advisor can commingle clients' funds with other clients' funds, but they have to keep them separate from their own. Agents, broker-dealers, and investment advisors can't commingle their funds with other clients. And that just goes for everybody, okay? Order ticket information, the customer name or account number, the agent name or number, whether it's a buy or sell, if it's a sale, whether it's long or short, is it solicited or unsolicited? That has to do with suitability. The number of shares or bonds traded, the description of the security, the execution price or the market price. You don't need the address, date of birth, or social security on the ticket as long as you have the name and account number. That's all they need. They need the time of the order receipt, the time of the order execution, time of cancellation. This avoids front-running violations. IA order tickets are different. IA sends the order ticket to the broker-dealer for execution. The IA keeps the order ticket copy. Execution is kept by the broker-dealer. This is what an IA order ticket has to have. The name of the person at the IA who made the recommendation, the person who placed the order, the date of the order, the name of the account, where it was sent, what broker-dealer or bank, and was it discretionary or not. Okay, they obviously don't know anything about the execution time, right? Because they're not executing. Okay. Limit order display rule. If a customer's limit order is better than the displayed quote that the dealer has, the market maker or the dealer must show the better price. They can't hide it. They have to show it. Now here's the confirmation information. The broker-dealer name, address, and phone number, the customer name and address, the number of shares bought or sold. We'll just do that. I am messing it up. Big time. Oh my goodness. There. Now you can't even see it. Number of shares bought and sold. Oh. Description of the security, the execution price, the commission being charged, and whether the payment was received. That's on the confirmation. Borrowing, lending, sharing, guaranteeing. Borrowing, lending, sharing, guaranteeing. That's a lot. Okay, here we go. Broker-dealer can only borrow securities from a customer account if they are given written permission. The NASAA doesn't allow IAs to borrow from relatives, even if they have accounts, and FINRA doesn't care. IAs, IARs, and agents cannot lend money to clients. Duh. Broker-dealers and banks can lend money to clients. in exchange for securities as collateral. So this makes sense because brokers, dealers can affect transactions, so they can lend money in exchange for securities. IAs cannot. Agent can share in the gain and the loss of the customer account if the broker-dealer approves. The IA can borrow from the client if the client is a lending institution, and only if. Agent, customer, joint account. Agent and customer can open a joint account. The proportion is equal to the capital invested. The manager has to approve that joint account. This is only for broker-dealers and their agents. An IA and an IAR versus customer joint account, that's just a nope. Can't happen. Doesn't matter who you get to say it's okay, it's not. It's not. Charges to customers. Broker-dealer charges must be fair and reasonable. Duh. Commission charge doesn't have to be disclosed at the time of the trade, but it does have to be disclosed on the confirmation. Unusual fees have to be disclosed at the time of the trade. You can charge for clerical services, but not for recommendations, and you cannot charge excessive fees. Disclosure of fee discounts to all is in the form ADV Part 2A, which is all about the business. What are some prohibited statements? Well, you can't lie or mislead. You can't solicit unregistered, non-exempt securities. You can't recommend stock of publicly traded parent company unless you disclose that you're affiliated. That would be called a conflict of interest. Customer complaints, mail, incapacitation, and death. This sounds like a fun section. Okay, customer complaints must be written, email works. Once you get them, even if they say, I changed my mind, I'm not mad anymore, you have to give them to the manager. Oh, look, I said that. Change mind, return the copy, and keep a copy. Must send everything to the address on file. That includes email. Okay? So now we're going to talk about death. If someone dies, you cancel their open orders. You note the date of death. You freeze the account from removal of assets. Period. Full stop. Not you ask their husband or wife if it's okay. Not you ask your manager. Freeze the account. You wait for the proper paperwork needed to transfer the account. Now, a durable power of attorney goes away when someone dies. Durable power of attorney remains if someone's incapacitated. So they haven't died, but they can't make decisions for themselves, then the durable power of attorney remains. But once they die, the durable power of attorney and the power of attorney go away. Trading practices. This is a duh section, but let's look at it. You cannot trade based on inside information. A tippy-tipper, both who participate are responsible if it's on purpose and a trade occurs. Let me read that again. If it's on purpose and a trade occurs. You have to report inside trading to the regulator, the firm's compliance department, and painting the tape is giving the appearance of trading, and that's prohibited. New issue rules, research rules. Okay. You must provide the final prospectus for non-exempt securities prior to the confirmation of the sale. The final prospectus must be sent prior to the confirmation of the sale. You cannot in any way mark up, highlight, circle, increase the font of the prospectus. You must disclose third-party use for any research. The initial public offering cannot be sold to issue insiders upon release, but it can be sold to employees and officers of the issuer, but not the broker-dealer. Free riding and withholding. Withholding an initial public offering from the public in order to keep for a free ride is, guess what? Illegal. Initial public offering allocations can be made to IAs, but it has to also be made to all clients. Underwriting manager can't issue the research report within 10 days of the initial public offering and 3 days for any add-on issues. So the underwriting manager has to wait 10 days after the initial public offering before they can issue the research report. Communication rules. The NASAA Investment Advisor Advertising Rules are as follows. And this is big. This is for IAs specifically. And the NASSA's rules are going to be different than FINRA. You cannot contain a testimonial in your advertising. FINRA does allow this for broker-dealers. You cannot state the report will be given for free. You cannot contain misleading or false statements. And the list of recommendations made in performance, as long as it's non-selective, is okay, as long as it's non-selective. Internet communications. Obviously, these are probably going to be updated and updated and updated, and this is where the focus and the changes are going to be made for the foreseeable future. The internet communication must remain general. Can't affect securities transactions. You must say you can only give advice if registered in the state. State requirements must be respected. Internet connection must contain a firewall. If you update a web page, then you must keep an archived copy of both the old and the new. Agent and IA rules. You cannot share a commission with someone not licensed or someone licensed at another firm. But you can pay a referral fee. You cannot split a commission with someone who's not licensed or someone who's at another firm, but you can pay a referral fee. IA can send trades to the affiliate broker-dealer, and the broker-dealer can earn commissions if it's disclosed to the client. Uniform Prudent Investors Act. You must act in accord with modern portfolio theory. Return analysis is based on the overall return, not the individual security return. You have to manage the trust for the benefit of the beneficiaries without favoritism, and you must try to minimize costs. The trustee can sign a document allowing investing decisions to be made by qualified agents. There's a Corporate Transparency Act. Companies must report the beneficial owners. Doesn't specify what securities can and can't be used, but you have to act prudently. Required reports. Suspicious activities report. File with FinCEN for anything suspicious for $5,000 or more, and you have to file it promptly, which is within 30 days. Currency transaction report. Cash deposits over $10,000, cash over $10,000, file within 15 days. You must have designated a person responsible for coordinating info security program. Annual cybersecurity protection testing has to take place. Employee training has to take place. You have to change passwords periodically. Encryption software has to be installed, as well as antivirus software. That's it, y'all. Hope this has been helpful. Go back over this. If you have questions, ask me. Let me know what you think of this video. We just finished the business practices section, biggest section on the Series 65. So study this one really well. All right.